You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Monday, July 14th, episode 3732, brought to you today by WERM Flooring. Good morning, horse people.
You have found Horses in the Morning on a Monday. You're in for an amazing horsey week of laughter, learning, and fun with Glenn and Jamie.
That's right. We're back. Welcome back, Jamie. Jamie's back.
I'm here.
Yay.
I'm back in Oklahoma.
I didn't hear from you over the weekend, and I was hoping that was good news because sometimes you didn't fly. That's how you got home. That's right. That's why you were home on time. I forgot that.
Exactly. Actually, I think we were supposed to come home on Friday, but I got an opportunity to do something really cool that we'll talk about later on Saturday. So we stayed extra. I had to do it.
So you came home Sunday? Came home yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
So got home, let's see, o'clock in the afternoon and got home Sunday morning at 2 a.m. So I was a little under the weather yesterday, a little tired, but you know.
Well, welcome back. We're glad to have you back. Today, we have a fun show planned for you. We have a lot of return guests today. Angela, who is our kind of homesteading guru, is going to come back, and she's going to give her recipe for all-natural fly spray and a compost tea recipe.
Poop soup.
DeAnn is also back with her stories of the month on Horse Nation, and in the Auditor Post Show, we're going to talk about ways you should be scared you really should be scared about the tech that's coming out right now, and it's freaking me out. So we're going to talk about that in the Auditor Post Show. But I have a follow-up from Friday. So Lisa was co-hosting on Friday, Jamie, and her mother had came home after a month in the hospital, came home on Thursday. And you know her mother is 102, but is a racing fanatic. So much so that while she was in rehab, Jamie, the track veterinarian from the track she goes to up there came over to visit her a couple times a week and brought the programs from the racetrack.
Oh,
that's what an institution her mother is at this track, that the track vet was visiting her. So she, of course, after she got home, had to go to the track on Saturday in the wheelchair and all. And I told Lisa, you need to bet $4 on the fourth horse in the fourth race. Jamie knows that's what I always do. You've done it for me before.
Yes, and I lose every time.
Well, you apparently don't have the luck, because Lisa was texting me as the race was coming up, and she said, it turns out it's a horse called Retired Kathy. She said, I sure hope our naming thing doesn't work on this one, meaning that this horse wouldn't run at all. And what happened was the horse went off at 19-1, led the whole way, and won the race. Lisa took home $80 on her $4 bet.
Dang, that's awesome. And BS, because that is like never works for me.
So it's kind of cool that it was fourth horse, fourth race. She bet $4, led the whole way. That's kind of cool, and ended up winning $80. I was so happy. Lisa was very happy, by the way. So I was so happy for her. Good job, Lisa. Good job. She listened to me and did it. You listened to me.
Does her mom have an app to bet? Because that could be.
I don't think so, because she goes to the track like almost every day for the races.
Oh, wow.
Every day the track, they apparently have a place for her. She's 102. She's been going since this track opened. And they have a place for her, and apparently everybody at the track knows her. They all know her. I'm surprised they don't come over and take her bets like where she's sitting, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she apparently loves it there. And she reads all the programs. She's one that understands the breeding. She understands who's who. She apparently had bet on Retired Kathy before and won. So it turned out to be a good bet. But yeah, her mom just loves that.
Gosh, I want to hang out with her.
I know. Wouldn't that be fun? She probably could talk your ear off about racing stuff.
Love it.
All right, let's do some Daily Whinnies. Very special happy birthday to two of our auditors, Linda and Michelle. Happy birthday to both of you. And also a daily Whinnie goes out to neighbors here that don't live too far from us. That's Jeremy and Heather Reynolds. They won the 69th Tevis Cup. They came into the finish line hand in hand together. They led pretty much the whole way. There were like 5 of them in the lead group the whole way. It was really hot. But they led the whole way. They came in together, and they had talked about if they came in as a tie, and Tevis Cup does not allow ties, but they did. They came in at the exact same time and tied, and they had agreed ahead of time it was Heather's turn to win. So Heather took the win, and this was, between them, they've won 8 Tevis Cups and 5 Hagen Cups. That's the best, the most healthy, the best, what is the fitness award basically for Tevis Cups called the Hagen Cup. And they've been riding for 2 decades. They also ride in the international teams. They're kind of the gurus here in America of endurance riding. So congratulations to them.
Great question.
Yeah.
So they live in Florida and they go to the Tevis Cup. Isn't that in like Northern California?
Yes. They make the trip out there. It takes them like 5 days.
Oh, so they do drive? They don't fly the horses?
No, they drive out.
Win?
Yeah. Yeah, and they stay out there too. They had 8 horses that were riding with their students and stuff. They had a total of like 8 horses riding in the Tevis Cup this time.
Good Lord. I want to know how I want to have them on because I want to know
Fitness.
how they comfortably ship horses that far without losing any fitness.
Well, and then how they keep themselves fit to ride that many horses for that long. I mean, they're both incredibly in shape, obviously.
Wow.
Well, they had, the totals were there were 105 entrants that started the race and 43 successfully made the trip. It was really hot. As I said, it was like over 100 degrees in the valleys there. But that's not unusual. They usually have about a 40 to 50% finish rate. It's just hard. And so that we'll do a lot more about that on Karen's next endurance show. And we usually have the winners on, and Jeremy and Heather have both been on before. So
if you could please ask them my question, I would like to know.
About how they keep their horses sane after 5 days in a trailer.
Well, and fit and healthy.
Well, that's true.
You know, like to me, like you're going to lose 5 days of training and like ship across the country in an exhausting way where potential health risks are imminent. I mean, constant. And then you're going to go to drop all the way from the southeast to the northwest, get your horse out and run 100 miles up a hill in like 1,000,000-degree weather. Like, how do you do that? That's incredible.
Yeah, they're an incredible couple too. I mean, their life is endurance. They live this stuff, and that's why they kind of live between California and Florida, because in Florida, all of the winter stuff, all the endurance rides are in Florida. So that's why they live here. They live it. Well, all right, your turn.
I just want to give a daily win out to the people that I got to hang out with and give lessons to in Colorado this weekend. Not that any of them are going to listen to this because I don't tell anybody what I do, but TJ Kelly, TJ's the head wrangler. He's the reason I go there. He and we realized we've been friends for 20 years this summer, which just makes my back hurt. Good God. And I gave lessons.
I didn't
to
realize
Kelly.
that. I thought you met him after we started doing the show.
No. I met him in Wyoming 20 years ago year. Kelly, Kim, Wyatt, Drew, Ava. Ava is this chick. Oh my God, she's so cool. She is a rainer and like a big time rainer. She's a teenager and she just won the national championship in her reining division, which is amazing. She had this giant buckle. I'm like, I want a buckle. Oh. And Emma's the new kind of head horse handler and wrangler over there. And she is fantastic. And it's amazing. Like there was a dude who kind of did all the horse stuff for the past several years. And now Emma has been hired. And oh my God, it's such a difference on how much happier the horses are and how much just they're happier to work. Somebody is a gentle soul around them as opposed to throw the saddle up and get them out there and ride. You know, like it was just really nice to see such a good person who's kind of handling all the horses this time. So it was really, really, really great week in Colorado.
You look like you had a blast. Talk about Zeus. Zeus looks happy as hell. I mean, he looks naughty as hell, but it says still, but
I swear to God, he opened the fence twice. And they told me by the end of the summer when they bring him in, because basically, if you didn't see, I posted a video.
And remind everybody who Zeus is for the new listeners.
Zeus is my old Mustang that I got from Northern Nevada Correctional Center in like 2016. And he and I went up through novice level 3-day eventing. When I moved here, he just needed more land and they needed another horse. So he's still mine, but I let them use him because it's 3,000 acres. And what possibly could go wrong with Zeus on 3,000 acres? Yeah, apparently he escapes all the time. And by the end of the summer, when they're bringing him in, you pass the chicken coop, he runs over to the chicken coop, opens the gates and goes in, and they have to like make sure he doesn't eat all the chicken food because it's like, he's just such a pain. He is a horse that only a mother could love. And there's only one person who rides him out there, and that is TJ. So Zeus leads every pack trip, every ride, everything.
Yeah, because he's great at that.
Oh, he's fantastic, right? So, I mean, he just decided he didn't want to do dressage anymore with me. And so he went out, and now he's this like super horse. And so I'll talk a little bit at the end of the show about cutting cattle on Zeus, which might have been the most fun thing I've ever done. But I take Zeus out. I was like, I'll just ride him every day. We love each other. What a dick. I mean, that is the most difficult. I was like, there's nobody in the world who would love you this much other than TJ and me. Like, you are just like, he's like, oh, you're going to take me out. And so I took Chad on a ride, Glenn. I put Chad on this absolute superstar of a horse. And then I got on Zeus and I was like, we'll just go out and we have to walk out. There's like a chute that they come in. And so I'm like, we'll ride out the chute that they come in. And this a-hole horse of mine spooked at everything. Right and left. I mean,
He's only done it 1,000 times.
Twice a day, every day for years. And he's like spooking right and left. And I decide, okay, they're in a drought, right? There's been no rain forever. And there's a really big, tall hill. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if we could just go right up there? And I'm like, let's do it. So I put Chad on. I'll think of his horse's name in a minute. And we get out there and we start riding on the top of the hill. And as we're riding, he is spooking at everything left and right. There's like an antelope. And he's like, oh my God, it's going to kill me. We start to get up and we're at the base of the mountain. I'm like, okay, we're going to climb to the top and see what's up there. Glenn, oh my God, it started pouring. It hasn't rained there in months. And it started, all of a sudden, it was like whoosh. It started pouring. And of course, Zeus is like, oh my God, I can't go anywhere. I'm getting rained
die.
on. And
Big tough Mustang he is.
Yeah. And Chad's like, we should go back. Because like here in Oklahoma, if it starts pouring, there's some sort of event that is going to follow it, like lightning, tornado, whatever, you know. So I'm like, oh, we get to the bottom of the hill. I didn't get to go to the top of the mountain. I really wanted to go, but it's pouring buckets. So we turned around and we trot back up to the top of the hill and then walk down the chute where he spooked so hard I almost fell off. But whatever, it's fine. So we get back, we get off, and I'm like, fine, Zeus, fine. And then it stops raining.
Of course.
Completely. I was like, awesome.
And that's cool. The last ride your husband did, isn't it?
And then that was his ride. He did it. He was like, cool, it's my yearly ride.
I'm done now. Back to fishing.
I'm done. But it was just so fantastic. So I taught lessons to a lot of so basically it's a 3,000 acre ranch and there's 30 home sites and everybody has a home site on 100 acres. And this, in the middle of this home site, I call it a grown-up summer camp. So there's like horses and there's shooting and there's fishing and there's four-wheeling and there's hunting trips. And it's basically, it's a grown-up summer camp. Yeah. And so when I would go riding the horses, Lucas and Chad would go out dirt biking or shooting on the shooting range. They brought their little guns. Lucas got a shotgun for his birthday. It's like all rednecky fun here that we moved to Colorado. So they're doing all that. And then I teach lessons. And then any of the horses that they have probably 15 of their own. And then they lease probably another 15 or 20 from outfitters such as Yellowstone, who provides horses for all the dude ranches. And a lot of times those horses are fantastic at nose to tail, but they might have a lot of steps that were skipped, like fly spray or putting a bridle on or any sort of like weird behaviors that they may have. So then I take those horses and work with them while I'm there. And so my project horse this year was a sweet little angel baby Palomino named Flower Power, little mare, big giant mare, actually. And so Flower Power, they're like, just go get Flower Power and you can bring her out here.
Did she act stoned
see
the whole
what's up.
time?
What?
Did she act stoned the whole time?
Definitely
Power?
not.
Okay.
Definitely. It's one of the name it of the opposite,
Yeah.
And so I go to get Flower Power in a corral. Now there's 25 horses in this corral and there's not very many places for them to go. And it took me 42 minutes to catch her in a corral. I was like, how is she getting away? Like what? So 42 minutes I catch her. And I take her out and I'm like, okay, well, the first thing first, this mare needs to learn that I'm the good place. So I put her in the round pen and do a join up. And they're like, you can't fly spray her. She's super spooky on the ground. She's highly touchy. Only advanced people can ride her. She's a mess. So I put Flower Power in there and I do a join up. And I'm trying to explain it, but also not trying to explain it. Just because the level of, I think a lot of the guests is not as much, owners is not as thorough. So I do the join up and TJ sees it and everything's great. And Emma comes out, she's like, oh, that's cool. And I show her that. And then she follows me around. And then I have TJ's son come out and she's following him around. And then have Emma come out and she's following him around. And it's fantastic. And I bring her into the area where they tack him up. And I was like, okay. And the next thing is fly spray, right? Yes. So I was like, empty this bottle, fill it up with water. So I go to fly sprayer and she's totally fine. Like I take the spray and I'm spraying far away and then go approach and retreat. When they move, it doesn't stop. And then you keep going until they stop and then you take it away. So it's kind of the whole, like, a predator never retreats. So by approach and retreat, we're proving we're not a predator. It didn't matter. It's like, she was totally fine. And then I throw the saddle pad up on her and throw the tack up on her. All she needed was that join up. I've never had an experience like that where like just the join up was enough to her to go, oh, you're good. You're like cool. Like you speak my language. You're going to listen to me. We're going to.
Because she knew how to do all the things already. She just needed to be convinced that it was safe to do them. Yeah,
it was. And of course, to be fair, like, I look like a magician.
Right. Yeah, you look great.
I mean, it's like, why is that mare responding so well to her? She's fine now. The next day I tacked her up and took her on a 2.5-hour ride. And she was amazing.
She was better than Zeus?
Yeah. She was way better than Zeus. And Zeus has done 10 million join-ups, so who knows? But yeah, it was really, really awesome to spend time with her. And every day, then the next day I went out and caught her, walked right up to her. Like, she's like, okay, cool. Like that was all she needed. So if you guys are not familiar with join up, please learn it. Like it really made a huge difference to a horse that just kind of thought that humans were suspect. So she was probably on a dude string up in Wyoming. And she actually, I realized I looked at her teeth once I could touch her teeth and she's 4 years old. And she probably was, yeah, she was cowboy broke. And then put in a dude string and followed people around. And then she ended up getting lucky enough to go to the Maytag for the summer and then kind of decoded all of it and got her sorted out. And now I just love her. And I wanted to bring her home because she's like this beautiful Palomino mare. And who doesn't dream about having a beautiful Palomino?
You have been talking Palominos a lot lately. You really have.
I know.
You've been mentioning that term a lot lately.
I'm going to go visit mine today.
You know what else has some problems? And that's trailer floors. We brought our trailer and we're going to be selling our living quarters trailer because we don't need one that big anymore. We don't go camping anymore. And we're going to get a smaller two or three horse tag along. And we were looking at the 2 or 3 horse tag alongs they had there and the used ones. And oh my God, the floors, ripped mats, pull up the mats and they had never been cleaned underneath. I mean, it's just, floors take a beating and most people do not take care of their trailer floors like they should. Like you're supposed to pull up the mats and clean underneath, whether you have wood or aluminum under there. Yeah, nobody ever does it. Nobody ever does it. So what solution is? Worm flooring. Worm flooring is the sealed system that's easy to clean and maintain. No more back-breaking scrubbing. they kind of take this rubberized stuff and spread it all over your floor and then up the walls, right? Up the sides of the walls so it doesn't get in there.
Yeah, it goes a couple inches up the sides of the wall.
So you don't have the
it's a
liquid
seal.
getting down in there either. So you never have to pull up mats. You never have to clean underneath the mats again because there's no mat. It's just this flooring. And it's not slippery. Liquids, you just basically wash them off. So it protects your floors for years to come, and they don't look like the ones we saw over there at the trailer store.
It's also a little shock absorbing too, I've noticed. When you walk in, it's not like you're not like clunk, clunk. It's kind of, I mean, you're walking on rubber. It's awesome.
So don't settle for a floor that's a constant hassle. Invest in Worm Flooring today. Visit Worm Flooring, WERM flooring.com to find a dealer near you. Well, coming up first today, we have our homesteading guru, Angela. She's joining us. She's the author of The Sustainable Homestead and has come on with us for years. And she has a fly spray recipe that's all natural because that's all Angela does. Well, hi, Angela. Thanks for joining us again. We really appreciate it.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Now, Angela, since we talked to you last, you've done some rebranding, but you're still at the same farm, right?
Yes, that's right.
So for new listeners, tell us a little bit about your homestead.
Sure. So I'm located on 6 acres in central New Jersey. It's an old farm from 1775, but it actually hadn't been a working farm since about 1950. So when we moved in about 10 years ago, we sort of revived it. And I've always been very eco-friendly. So I wanted to integrate this whole permaculture land stewardship approach to farming. So everything that we do is in alignment with nature. So we have Clydesdale horses, we have Percheron and Belgian that we use for work, pulling, and also for riding. And then I've got sheep, and we have ducks and geese and guinea fowl and honeybees, and we grow as much of our own food as we can.
You know, I think the term homestead has been kind of, I don't know, corrupted is not the word, but
Watered down.
down because, everybody that has a little farm now calls themselves a homestead. What's your definition?
You're so right. And it's actually one of the reasons that we just rebranded. So if folks aren't familiar, I used to have my farm identity was Axe and Root Homestead. And the thing about the homesteading community is it's so accepting, and truly homesteading can be whatever you want it to be. But for me, the difference between a farm and a homestead is a farm is somebody who's going to like grow food for a living and sell it. That's their income. Whereas a homestead might be more self-sufficient. The reason that I kind of wanted to get away from both of those and rebranded as the Arcadia Project is because we have such a land steward initiative. You know, everything that I do is synonymous with nature, whereas that's not necessarily the focal point of most homesteads or what people think of when they think of a farm. So I wanted to bring that eco-friendly piece into it.
How do you think, homesteading had big growth before COVID? As a matter of fact, I think we started having you on before COVID a long time ago.
Yeah.
And where are we at now? What's happened since then? Has it been the corruption of the term, or has there been more and more people, less and less?
I think homesteading is an act of rebellion politically in a lot of ways. That's how it's seen nowadays, especially on the social media platforms, right? We're getting out of the supply chain. We're growing our own food. We're for some people abandoning the healthcare system. And so and what you're saying corrupted, I think that's where some of those negative connotations come into play. I'm very proud of the fact, right, that we grow our own food and we're sufficient and we give back to the land. But I still send my kids to school. I don't homeschool. And I still get my kids vaccinated, which is obviously controversial. So that's where I think a lot of those controversial dialogues start to come in.
Like anything else from the political side, right? I mean,
yeah. Everything's politicized these days, right?
Well, I also
know why you have to send your kids to school, because when we have damn time to homeschool them, Lord.
Growing your own food's a lot of work.
I told my husband I would love to homeschool my kids. I would love to have them here. But seriously, I need my mom time. And maybe that sounds selfish, but I need my time to focus on the animals and focus on the planting without feeling pulled in both directions.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's crazy. Go ahead.
I think it's also become synonymous in people's minds with preppers. If you're a homesteader,
Yes.
You're a prepper. Do they always go together? What's your thoughts?
No, I think there's definitely different types of homesteaders. There's the rebellious, anti-government facet. There's the preppers, and that's not necessarily growing your own food. That's the people who are going to load up on sales at grocery stores and big bulk stores like Costco or Sam's Club. And they just buy everything and then start, I don't want to say hoarding it, but they're just stockpiling, right? And preserving en masse for some doomsday or some situation, so they can be prepared. And so that's another facet. And then there's the more, permaculture, eco-friendly folks, which is where I jump in. And then there's people who it can be a gray area. It can be people who feel passionate about having more of a hobby farm, but at the same time are still in the supply chain. So I think there's just a whole bunch of different subcultures.
People, and I know, and I've watched this. I've seen, especially on YouTube, you see people that are starting their homestead and they start a YouTube channel, and then all of a sudden, a year and a half later, they're gone. All of a sudden, there's no more videos. It's because it's hard. People get into this thinking it's easy to grow your own food and live off the land and all that stuff. No, it isn't. It's hard.
It's super hard. I kind of wish that we had more focus on self-sufficient communities, right? Where it's like, we've got the bread baker, we've got the handyman, we've got the herbalist, we've got the farmer, and then we could kind of rely on each other more than asking somebody to do everything themselves. That is just not attainable.
It isn't. It's hard.
No. If it was community sufficient, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Aren't we getting back to a commune then at that point? Or
a little bit. But I don't know if that's a bad thing. It might have its appeal.
I don't think Jamie wants to live in a commune with me.
You don't want a commune, Jamie? You don't want somebody to come
Not with me.
I mean, for real, we gotta sit down and put pen to paper on this, because I'd have to think about it.
Okay.
I would like somebody else growing my vegetables. I can bake the bread. I'll be okay with that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. We haven't done so well here in Florida growing vegetables. It's been tough. It's been a tough road.
Yeah. If you're in a commune with Glenn, you're going to starve to
death.
Okay. So Glenn doesn't go near the garden.
No. That is correct. Well, when we had you, one other question before we get to some recipes you have for us, we're going to talk about, we've had a lot of talk this year about fly spray in our auditor channel and natural fly spray. And you're going to bring back a recipe you did for us before, but I know a lot of people haven't heard it. And then we're also going to talk about compost tea. And I don't think that's a tea we're supposed to drink. So we're going to go into that one too. But how have you changed what you do in the last couple of years at the farm? What's changed for you?
I got really sucked into the whole permaculture pipeline, which...
What's permaculture? Tell me what that is.
Okay, so permaculture is this idea that you could be growing food, you could be raising animals, you could be doing both. It could be a lifestyle change, but it's just the idea that you're trying to reduce your inputs, you're reducing your emissions or your effects on the environment, and you're mimicking patterns in nature. And so this is something where, for example, say you have a muddy spot in the pasture that no matter what you do, the horses are slipping, you can't drive a tractor or four-wheeler through there. Maybe just let it go and turn it into a pond. That's what nature wants. And so you're kind of letting nature take the lead and your own desires kind of take the back seat, because we're trying to say, okay, nature knows best. So maybe instead of fighting weeds in this particular area, I might mulch it down and then turn it into a wildflower field. And so instead of constantly trying to be in control and fighting things all the time, erosion, water, what have you, we're actually just going to adapt the way that we approach farming or gardening or homesteading to better fit what's naturally happening. And then you just save yourself a lot of work and a lot of headaches in the long run, and it's more energy and eco-friendly.
This makes me feel better, because there's parts of the farm I don't feel like mowing, and I never do. And I'm just going to call it natural now. Just nature. Yeah.
You go. It's restorative.
That's right. So when Jennifer says, why didn't you mow that? I'm going to say it's restorative.
Yeah. Tell her you're being a land steward.
That's right. I'm going to blame you. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about fly spray and all natural fly spray. You gave this recipe before, and I will post it on the Facebook page, but I know it works. We tried it before, but we have a bunch of new listeners that have not heard this one. So let's hear it again.
So I don't like the idea of spraying chemicals. I don't want it to waft all over me. And so I make my own, and it's better for the horses, and it works just as well. It's got to be effective. So for fly spray, I mix, just in a big container, 4 cups apple cider vinegar, an 1/8 cup of olive oil, because that's going to make it stick. And, vinegar is drying. Olive oil is going to moisturize the skin. We do 2 tablespoons of skin lotion, or you can use MTG oil, mane, tail, groom. But I've started using Equiderma skin lotion. And then I do 2 tablespoons of unscented dish soap. And then I do 20 drops lavender essential oil, 20 drops rosemary, and 20 drops peppermint essential oils. And just like if you research a lot of plants that are supposed to repel a lot of insects, the top 3 that are always on there are going to be lavender, rosemary, and peppermint. Now, when you mix all this together with 4 cups plus an 1/8 cup of olive oil plus those tablespoons of those other liquids, you really got a diluted potency on your essential oil, so it's not going to harm the horses in any way. And you mix it all, put it in a spray bottle, or what I like to do, since my horses are small elephants, is put it in a weed sprayer, and then I can easily just coat their entire body.
That's appropriate for a draft horse. I can see it. You strapped to your back. The weed sprayer strapped to your back, spraying your horses.
Backpack sprayer. Yeah.
I'll put a picture in the show notes of your 3 too. I stole that off your website, so I'll post that so you can see her big guys.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. I'll post this in the show notes. I think you did this last year too, Jamie. I remember you kind of doing this one. And if you go to Costco, you can get the 5-gallon jug of apple cider vinegar.
And that's what I was just thinking of. I was at Costco yesterday. Oh.
Yes.
I don't know that you can buy the essential oils there, but you might be able to at Costco. Who knows?
Well, I think I could get olive oil because like what I have in my house is like the extra virgin organic. I think I can probably go with just like regular olive oil and not like apple cider vinegar from the mother. Probably just regular apple cider vinegar. Yeah.
Sure.
See, I need to go back to Costco, my favorite place.
Okay, you have a bizarre one for us next, and this is for those of us that are try to garden and are unsuccessful at it. It's the basic compost tea, and this is, let me put the warning out there, this is not for you people. This is for your garden. So.
And you know what? I did not know that, and I was like, because I drink tea all day, and I was like, new tea. Oh, God, no.
Oh, no. No, Dave. You'll end up in the hospital. No.
Okay, tell about this tea.
Okay, so for those of us who have horses and might have excess manure that we've composted.
Everybody raise your hand that has excess manure. That'd be everybody. So.
Seriously. The nice thing about this is that you don't necessarily have to worry about cold composting or whether it's gotten hot enough to kill weed seeds. What we're interested is just taking a cup of your finished existing garden soil that's already in the garden, and then add a cup of finished compost, okay? So that could be whether you've cold or hot composted. Make sure it's just finished. A cup of each, garden soil, compost, and mix it in like a 5-gallon bucket. Now, if you don't want it to float around loose leaf tea style, you could also put that in a cheesecloth and tie it with a string and essentially make a tea bag out of it. But you're gonna fill your 5-gallon bucket with water. We just wanna make sure it's not chlorinated. So if you're on a well, perfect. Otherwise, you might want to consider buying water for this one if you think you have city water that's like heavily messed with. And then we're just going to let that sit in the 5-gallon bucket for about 24 hours. Now, if you can get an aerator or a bubbler, they sell them on Amazon, ag stores, pond stores, garden centers for super cheap. They cost between $20 and $30. Add that in. And the reason we want to bubble our brewing tea for this 24-hour period is because all of that good beneficial bacteria like mycorrhiza is going to start to explode in numbers and in population once we add oxygen. You can still absolutely do this without a bubbler. You're just going to get more bang for your buck if you introduce oxygen. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take this wonderful mixture after 24 hours, you're going to strain it, and then you're going to use 3 parts of the tea to 1 part water, and you just drench your plants. So here's another place where you could use a spray bottle, a backpack sprayer, or even just a watering can. And you're going to drench your plants all over the leaves, the base of the stem, and around the soil line. And you're introducing all of this amazing nutrients and mycorrhiza and beneficial bacteria. And it's a totally safe, really healthy, natural form of fertilizer, essentially, for your plants and a soil conditioner.
Would it be, if it's coming from the compost, is it too strong? Well, you're diluting it 6 times here, so I guess that's not a problem. I'm thinking, straight from the garden, a lot of times you have to put lime with it because it's too strong, straight from the bottom of the compost pile. You're not having that problem because you're diluting it?
Because you're diluting it, exactly.
Okay, so when you spray this on your plants, is this something meant to be sprayed before they start fruiting or after? Like, because I have already jalapenos and tomatoes and all that kind of growing, I guess. Do you spray it on it now and just wash your veggies later or what?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously, if you're going to go harvest some lettuce, don't spray it on there, harvest, and then go make your salad, right? I would go ahead, harvest the one head of lettuce, and then spray the others. But you can absolutely spray a day or two before, especially if there is going to be a rainfall. Pull off your jalapeno plants or your peppers, and then go ahead and spray on there and apply after that. We just don't want it to be something where we're consuming it right away. Now, obviously, if you wash your veggies, give them a rinse, it's going to be something that probably washes off. If you're super concerned about it, use a veggie cleaner. But for me personally, I just apply about 24 to 48 hours before I'm going to harvest anything.
And how often should we do this?
So ideally, in a perfect world, it's good to fertilize your plants about every 2 weeks. Now, I only do it once a month because that's just honestly all the more that I can get to it.
Yeah, too much work. Yeah, I get it.
Too much work. Yeah.
All right. So basically, I need to go to Costco and get some olive oil and vinegar and then come home and make poop soup. So
there you go.
sounds good. That's the best day ever.
Yeah. And when people give you strange looks when you tell them what you're doing, just blame me.
Yeah, I will.
It's all Angela's fault.
I throw you under the bus all the time anyway, so that's fine.
Oh, excellent. Good news.
Angela, where can people find you? And you have a book they can buy too, or a couple books actually.
I have a couple books. So I wrote the Little Homesteader series. This is a kids and family series to get you into the pattern of living by the seasons. And there's a Christmas one coming out in October. So that can be purchased online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, what have you. The other book I wrote is the Sustainable Homestead. So that's my more how-to permaculture guide to creating a more eco-friendly farm situation. Again, you can buy that wherever books are sold. And then if you want to follow me on any socials or on my website, you're just going to look at the Arcadia Project NJ. And there I am.
Very good, Angela. It's always fun to have you, and we appreciate you joining us.
I love being here. Thank you again for having me back.
When it comes to equine health, Cosequin Joint Health Supplement didn't just enter the arena, they built it. World-renowned riders like Philip Dutton, Will Coleman, and Julie Goodnight trust Cosequin for their horses. The high-quality, scientifically researched ingredients found in Cosequin products range to support joint, digestive, hoof, and immune health. Those are the areas most impacted for performance horses. Top riders give their horses the best, and that's why when performance matters, they choose Cosequin. With over 30 years behind the Cosequin name, you can rely on Cosequin products for when performance matters. To learn more, visit Cosequin.com, or as John Kyle pronounces it when he's doing the show jumping and they're jumping the Cosequin jump, he says, they've cleared the Cosequin fence.
Cosequin.
Time to talk to one of our favorite regular guests, and it's DeAnn from Horse Nation. DeAnn, hello. It's been so long since we've chatted, it seems like.
I know. I feel like I was just saying this to one of my staff writers and friends. This year, and especially this summer, has just flown by. Like, I turned around and it's the middle of July.
It is crazy. It is crazy. Well, I know you've been doing a lot of horse stuff. Before we get into that, remind everybody, because it's been so long, you're currently sitting in your barn, right? And tell everybody where you are.
I am sitting in my tack room, letting the horses finish up some breakfast. I'm based outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so we have either had extreme heat or torrential downpours, and somewhat no in between. Right now, it's actually not horribly hot, but I believe we are due for rain again today.
Just when it dries out enough and stops being so oppressively humid, then it just starts over. So, yeah, it's been like that in Oklahoma, too.
Right. I mean, and to be fair, like, if I want to think about it in a more positive manner, at least we grow good hay here.
I mean, it all comes down to horses.
Right. I think about places where they struggle with moisture and can't get hay to grow. And I think, well, could be, at least I've got that.
Well, my cutting is a month late because we've had so much rain. Usually it shuts off around mid-June.
And it won't dry.
Yeah. And so I can't cut yet because it seems like every 3 days we're having rain and you can't squeeze it in. I think we got 2 inches yesterday. So yeah, I'm going to have amazing hay once it finally gets cut.
Yeah, my hay guy definitely had to thread the needle. I think, it was one of those where we ended up with a 5-ish day stretch of no rain, but it also was record breaking heat, which, we can't ever throw hay in 70-degree weather. I don't know why.
It's not possible. Not possible. Yeah. Well,
And my hay is stored. I would say quickly, I know we need to move on, but and I know this is not ideal. So before people at you, like, I lease a facility, this is what I've got. My hay is stored in a loft, like at the top of my barn. So not only are we throwing in record-breaking heat, or at least the hottest week of the year, almost every year, we're upstairs.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you how to upgrade. I now use round bales. I do my round bales in my field. So you know who picks them up? The tractor.
Yeah, so I have the round bales, but I also always get a few hundred squares.
Oh man, that's a lot of work. Yeah, that's cool. Well, I know you are actually using your horses, so at least that's a positive. And have I seen you mounted shooting?
Yeah, that's what I do. For the most part, other than just staring at my horses in the field and wondering what's wrong with them. If I'm not doing that, I'm doing mounted shooting.
That's awesome. So is this a family affair, or do you kind of do it yourself?
It has become one. So I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, and my son is super not into horses. And my husband, who's a fabulous father and is great with the kids and never flinches at helping out, also gets very impatient if he is unfairly left home alone with the kids for too often and too long. So I'm fortunate that the girls like riding, and now my 13-year-old and 10-year-old daughters will come with me. Oh. And sometimes that's fabulous, but also I have a 13-year-old daughter, so sometimes that's an adventure.
There's a lot of realism in that. I get you. I will tell you that as a person who had one child, and it's a boy who literally won't touch a horse, like has zero desire. I'm still, even 13-year-old girl, I'm still kind of jealous.
Well, you know, we have some days that I'm like, oh, this is fun. I can't wait for more of this.
And then there's the rest of them. I gotcha. Well, yep. So I would like to give a big announcement to Happy National Farriers Week. I didn't know that was a thing. Has that always been a thing?
You know what? I should have double checked this. It hasn't always been a thing. It started somewhat recently, but within the last within the last few years. It started, hold on, I'm trying to quickly pull it up. Like, it's been a thing for a few years. It has not always been a thing. I think the American Farriers Journal started the Farriers Spotlight in 2012, and then it morphed into that. Okay,
gotcha. So if you want to give yourself a week, have the organization that you work for do it.
Essentially, yes. Essentially.
We need to declare a horse podcasting week because we started it. So, I mean, we could declare it, right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
100%. I think next week is good, and y'all can go ahead and start shopping on Amazon.
Send your tips by PayPal.
Yeah, take Venmo, PayPal, whatever. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your article about National Farriers Week.
So this one was actually a throwback because I had done a bunch of posts about ways to thank your farrier, which I'm always a big fan of reminding people that these guys work and girls, that these people work so hard in all kinds of weather and, the farrier is one of the most, as I'm getting I've gotten 2 phone calls and 1 person showing up at my barn in the 5 minutes we've been on this podcast. So
keep moving, just ignore them.
Keep moving, sorry. But anyway, they're one of the most important people in your horse's health and soundness. And I always like to remind people to show them the love. But so this article was a throwback that kind of was just a day in the life, like a typical day in the life of a farrier that I thought was worth revisiting because what they do is so much work. And if you've I am not a proponent of doing my own horse's hooves. I acknowledge that I do not have the skill set for that. But, I'll rasp something if I have to. I will pull a shoe if I have to. I will do the absolute basics until my farrier can get to me. And every time I do it, I love to send my farrier usually a selfie of me sweating and swearing and reminding him that I don't pay him enough and thanking him for what he does. And I don't know that people always realize how much hard work it is. And so I wanted to share this article about what a typical day in the life of a farrier looks like. And I laugh because, again, as we all know, there's all the poop.
Well, I think that one of the most important things that I stress to my farrier, so they know that I know, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, listen, you are a part of this team. This existence that I have here is not possible without you. Yes, I give him tips at Christmas. And when he comes, I make sure there's and this is something that blows my mind that people don't do, have a shady place for them to work. Get out of the weather.
Oh my gosh, that is number one on my list. And I'm fortunate that I have a fairly nice barn setup. I mean, it's not like fancy, but right. Like I have a barn aisle with electrical and I can hook up fans, like I can shut the doors in the cold weather. I can do things. But even if you don't have that kind of setup, which you can be an excellent horse owner and take wonderful care of your horses, even if you don't have that, by all means, please have shelter for your farrier, whether it is a cleaned out run-in, under
garage,
some
whatever.
Shady trees, your garage, whatever. Like, please make sure there's shade. Please make sure there's cover, and clean it up. Like they don't want to stand in ankle deep muck.
And it's funny, when he gets finished, he goes to grab my broom to clean up his workstation. I'm like, no, I do that. You just come here, fix the things, and drive away with money. That's all I want you to do. And also, like, he will come when I call him, because when he comes here, I've got one of those giant fans that's what I asked for Valentine's Day a couple of years ago, was a fan for my farrier. And like,
that's amazing.
Yeah. And then like in the winter, I have a torpedo heater that I put on them, I try to make it so comfortable, and people always wonder, like, how come your farrier comes the next day or the same day? I'm like, because I spoil him. Like, can I get you a coffee? Can I get you a drink? Because that is one of the hardest jobs. And I learned it was the hardest job because when I moved here to Oklahoma, not that I didn't already know it was, but I moved here to Oklahoma and I'm like, all right, I'm going to start trimming Duke's feet. He's 30 years old. I'm spending so much money trimming his feet. I'll just do it. It'll be fine. DeAnn, I got half a foot done and I was like, this is the best damn money I've ever spent.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the worst. So everybody, this week's text your farrier. Tell them, even if they don't know, it's happy Farrier Appreciation Week, but send them a text, send them a Venmo, whatever it is, to show them your appreciation.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, technically it was last week, but your farrier doesn't care. They always appreciate. Yes, it was.
Damn, I missed it. All right, I'm going to text Brett right now.
They're cool. They're good. They always appreciate the show of support.
Yes, absolutely. Before we let you go, talk about the Mythbuster Monday.
Okay, so Mythbuster Monday, we were talking about horse braiding, and not the fancy braids for shows. I'm talking for those of us who keep our horses' manes and tails long, when we braid their hair, their mane, not their hair, when they're out in the field, and getting it to stay in. Because for those of us who like to grow the manes, keeping it braided is a good way to prevent, sometimes if you do it right, prevent breakage and let it grow. And there's a debate among people who do that about whether you should use rubber bands or electrical tape. The folks who use electrical tape swear by it. So we were taking a look at it and felt the need to see what really works better. And I have to say, so what it came out is that the reviews are mixed. Everyone says electrical tape holds better and it causes less breakage. That was the final.
I would have guessed the opposite. That when you're taking the electrical tape off, it causes breakage, but
it rolls really easily.
It's true.
But here's what I'll tell you. As somebody who is not the best horse groomer, right? Like I make sure my horses are functionally groomed, not.
Oh, I love that term. We need to start using that, Jamie. Functionally groomed.
Functionally groomed.
I need to write that down.
I was like, I'm going to do the electrical tape thing. So it totally worked. My horse's braids stayed in. That said, I definitely needed to have, you can't leave it in. If they stay braided too long, they become kind of dreadlocks, and then you have a whole different set of problems.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
in my experience, the electrical tape will stay, but you have to be diligent about changing it out regularly.
Okay, I'm going to give everybody the hottest tip ever for when you're going to go compete and you suck at braiding like I do, which is about 3 weeks before your event, roach your horse's mane. And by the time the event comes up, it's a perfect 2-inch like Trojan horse thing. And that is the bomb. Like, it is the best. That's what Zeus and I always did, because his mane, as a Mustang, his mane was like 6 inches thick, you know, and he hated standing for braiding. And I would have to thin it unmercifully to even get, like, I would have giant, like, softballs on the top of his neck if I braided it all. So yeah, I've roached it, let it grow 3 inches, and it actually is okay. And well, in eventing, probably would get frowned on in the hunters, but whatever.
Right. And I will say that, like, my daughter right now is borrowing a horse for mounted shooting from a friend, older mare who taught her daughter who her daughter grew on, and is just an honest, sweet little mare. She came to us with a kind of grown out roach mane, looked like a Trojan horse. I never thought I would be into that. It's the cutest flippin' thing. And this horse has the neck for it, right? Like, she's got a beautiful neck. She looks so cute. And my daughter, who loves to braid the horse's manes and tails, was like, oh, I like this. So she keeps trimming it to keep it at the Trojan horse look.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I mean, it's, you know, there's pros and cons of everything, but if you are just like me and you hate braiding and you suck at it and your horse has a terrible mane and doesn't want to stand still, roach that thing.
The fjords have been doing it forever, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. Well, DeAnn, as always, it's awesome to catch up with you, and thank you for being on and sharing your stories with us. Everybody go to horsenation.com. They post stuff all the time. Follow it on Facebook. I'm sure you're on Instagram and all that stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
So check it out, horsenation.com.
Are you struggling to find a saddle that you can adjust without having to wait for a saddle fitter? Or maybe you don't have access to a professional saddle fitter nearby? Schleza Saddles has the solution with their virtual custom fit systems. They call it VCFS. The VCFS line features the innovative patented 3P gullet plate, allowing independent adjustment of tree width and angle. Plus the center balance stirrup bar designed for optimal rider alignment. This system can be fit anytime and anywhere worldwide. Ride with unmatched freedom, performance, and convenience. The Schleza VCFS line, where cutting-edge innovation meets timeless craftsmanship. Ready to ride your best? Visit Schleza.com. That's Schleza, SCHLEESE.com to learn more. Well, before we end the show today, we have to find out more about your trip. I know you did some cow work and everything, but I wanted to know, you did a lot of lessons. You know how Really Bad Ads is always a theme every Friday? When you're teaching a week's worth of lessons, there's always a theme too. So did you notice one?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question, because there was definitely a theme, and it sounds silly, but I'm trying to get these people to understand, you know, I'm not spending a lot of time with them on a lunge line teaching them how to post. I'm trying to get them to communicate with their horses better. And so Zeus is a great example. Anytime I was going to tell this, I would tell them to look at Zeus. And Zeus right up next to another horse, and they scratched each other's withers with their teeth, right? So mutual grooming is a thing. And I would always be like, look at Zeus. How are horses showing each other affection? And they're like, well, they scratch each other. I'm like, exactly. Do you ever see Zeus patting another horse? What? No. I said, so if we're trying to use the horse's language for the horse, and we're trying to let them know we understand them and we're communicating with them, if we wanted to let them know that something is a good job or a reward, how would we do it? They're like, probably just scratch them. And I was like, rub or scratch. You never see horses pat each other. And that is such a light bulb for people. And it's something I see so often that I see people walk up to a horse and just start slapping it on the neck. And you can see the horse's ears like pin.
You must cringe every time a show
jump.
jumper comes out of the ring.
Oh God. Do you know that, Monty, the whole thing, they've done studies on horses and the heart rate, when you rub a horse or scratch a horse, their heart rate lowers. When you pat them, it spikes their heart rate. Watching the Olympics and people come across the finish line and the 3-day eventing cross-country portion and they just start slapping their horses, I'm like, oh,
that's a hard one to
cringe.
unlearn because that's muscle memory, right? You've been
It's
doing it
really
forever.
hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard for people to unlearn, but
And your
once you-
adrenaline's up when you're coming across the finish line, right? So
But not even thinking finish line, just when you're on your horse and you want to let them know they did a good job, swacking them on the neck is not how they communicate with each other affectionately. So if you use the horse's language to let them know, and again, they've done studies where they put heart rate monitors on and heart rate lowers when you rub or scratch them as opposed to patting. So it's one thing that I think I fixed. Plus, now that I have Emma at the ranch, a lot of these horses, when they go on these long rides, 3 hours, they ride them right back to the corral and get off. And I'm like, stop it, because all the horses are barn sour. Every single, because all the goods, the food, the water, the rest, the
end of the ride,
alone, all their friends, the end of the ride, everything is in that corral. So I'm like, you guys, to not have barn sour horses and say, like, the horses, when you go to take them out and you want to go out to the arena, they don't want to go because they're like, why? So I finally got Emma on board with every time you get off a horse, you have to ride it into the round pen or into the arena and get off there. You cannot ride them into the corral like some lazy dude who's just going to like step off and put the horse away. You have to ride them into there, loosen the girth, and walk them to the corral. And it happened every single ride. And I was so excited. I'm like, yay, I'm making waves. It's so great.
it's funny,
So
it's
it
the
was
little
fantastic.
things, isn't it?
It is. I was just, that kind of stuff, it just matters. You know, people always say a barn sour horse, or the horse leans over to the rail, runs to the gate, you know. Well, stop getting off at the gate.
Or stop feeding them treats at the gate. Which
Yeah. Or you know, why does my horse paw in the cross ties? Because you get cookies in the cross tie and it's pawing for more.
Yep.
So yeah, that was basically it. Patting and not teaching your horse to be barn sour. Those
Isn't
are
it
probably
funny?
the
It's
two
the little
things.
things. Which
Well,
is
it
what
is.
Monty teaches. Those little things are the basis, though, of the whole teaching.
It's the foundation
Yeah.
of getting a partner that wants to work with you. So yeah, it's great. It's great. But the coolest part of the entire thing, and Glenn, I think I might be not changing disciplines, but adding to my repertoire
And
as
what's
a
that?
rider. I found the most fun, coolest thing I have ever done on a horse
me guess.
ever in my life.
Cutting.
You got it.
Jennifer loved it too. She
Oh my God. It's so fun. So they have 450 head of cattle that graze the ranch. And it was time to have, they wear like IUDs inserts. Cows are gross. Like, I mean, they're so gross.
They
I'm
are
glad
gross.
I don't eat them because they're disgusting. So we had to push all the cattle into this smaller area, this paddock thing, and then push them into I don't know what it's called, but it's basically a circular kind of cattle moving technique. And then they go in the very middle is like a chute. Now, this round circular thing for pushing cattle, because it's supposed to be less stress, was invented by Temple Grandin. And Temple
Oh, really?
Grandin.
It's big, though,
went-
right? It's a big, not a little tiny round thing.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll post some, or I'll send you some overhead shots. There was a drone following us, and we did this. And it was so cool. And so there's 450 cattle, and it looks like bugs inside this little container. Like, so that's how big this area is. It fit 450 cattle, and there's room for twice that many. So you push all the cattle in, which we did. There was probably 15 of us on horses, and we're none of us like do this for a living. Like only one person did this for a living. And the rest of us are just doing what we're told. So we push the cattle into this circular thing. And basically what happens is we have to drive them into a stock where they pull out the IUD. And I guess there's like a string or something. I don't know. I didn't do that job. I didn't get close up because that's
and you
disgusting.
didn't want to look either.
No. So they pull them all out. And then what happens is all the cows kind of come into heat at the same time. And then what they do is they run them back through and they do AI on all of them. And then the ones that don't get pregnant with the AI, they turn out a couple bulls to the herd and they handle the rest. So basically you're going to get all the babies born.
Happy days.
Yeah. All the babies born at the same time, which is just amazing. So the science of it. But to drive these horses into this, they had to, it's like I said, it's a kind of concentric circle. So you drive them around and then you have to cut a few of them through the middle and then push them around until they get to the stocks. And I mean, even Chad was working. Lucas and Chad both helped out. It was amazing. So you have to push the cattle around. So somebody has to go and they can only take like about 6 at a time. So 450 cattle, 15 people on horses, and they're all stationed at different parts of this circle. So at the end, I got to hop. I rode Ponzer for the first time, and he's one that I sent to the farm, bought for them last year. So Ponzer went, and he was great. Cows were running into him. He didn't care. Like I was like, these horses are so cool with this. But then I got to get on Zeus, and I could just ride Zeus into 400 cows. I would ride him, and I've taken, for some reason in my life, I've had one cutting lesson to push, right? And I'm not like zipping back and forth. My point is I have to go in and I have to sort. So I guess it's more sorting. So I have to go in and sort 6 cattle out because they're standing in the back, and then you kind of ride into the herd of 6. And I was told to like kind of look at the one you want to push out, and all the ones next to that one go to. So you push out, like you kind of like weave your way into getting 6 out, and then you turn and you send them. And so I would have to cut in 6 horses, 6 cows, and then turn and gallop and chase them to the next set of waiting horse and riders. And they send them around, and eventually they get funneled through like a section of a series of riders to get into the chutes where they have IDs pulled, and probably it feels a lot better. And then they all go out. Now, grant you, like cows, the watery poop, and they just poop on each other's faces. I mean, it's gross. They're so dumb. I'm so glad I don't eat cows. But
having owned cows, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yes. And they told me, they were like, you're going to see how dumb they are, and then you're going to want to eat them. And I was like, I saw how dumb they were and gross they are, and I'm never going to eat that ever. So just going into this.
By the way, if you're a cow person, hate mail to Jennifer@horseradionetwork.com.
Oh, they know? They're the ones that were telling me all this stuff. So it's not really cutting. It was more sorting. And that to me was the most fun thing. I mean, that was so, I was like, I feel like I'm
Wasn't
riding
Zeus
with a
the one
purpose.
that went out and spooked at everything, and yet
Yes!
you're driving him in the middle of cows and didn't care?
Yet he's like, I can do this. And then, so, I mean, and this was hours, Glenn, hours. I took this Mustang who would not quit. Mind you, at the end of a cross-country course, he's like, I'm dying. And this is like 4 hours. I'm basically going into this herd and sorting out these cows. And he would like pin his ears at him. He was like, get out there. I don't want you.
Well, he got to be the boss.
He was totally the boss. And so I pushed out, and then, I mean, we're talking 4 hours, Glenn. 4 hours of this horse working as hard as a horse can work, and he just would not quit. So then we get all the cows done. Fast forward to the end, we go to drive them out, and we have to send them back out to this field. Now, I notice one person up ahead is trying to kind of like get next to the herd and cut them off so they don't make a turn. So this girl trots all the way out there. Zeus takes that as an opportunity to flat take off at a gallop. Mind you, he's been under saddle for 6 hours, sorting as hard a job as you can do for 4. He takes off with me and runs away and blasts me to the front of the herd. And then he stopped at the front. I mean, I was holding as tight as you could possibly hold, like racehorse tight. And he just kept galloping. And I was like, well, okay, we're just doing this now. So he gallops up to the front. The only way I could get him stopped was to like run him up this like mountain, right? So I get him he's probably about 100 feet above everybody else at the top of this hill. And the cows are still going. And everybody's just walking and relaxed. And my horse is on top of a hill, rearing, Glenn, rearing straight up and down. Like he was like, oh, like, rearing. And all I could think was, I hope somebody's videoing this, because this would be like the coolest thing ever. To be like on top of this mountain, on this rearing Mustang. Nobody got it. The drone didn't even see it. Damn it. But I will tell you that I think if anybody can point me in the direction of sorting, now I feel
well, it got to be a lot of it in Oklahoma.
I know, right? So I think I'm going to make Groot or Miles my sorting horses.
Have an Andalusian sorting horse?
An Andalusian or a thoroughbred 16-3. Like, I can do it, whatever. We got to start pushing cows, because I used the saddle that Pat Roberts gave me. I took it with me to Colorado, and I rode in her saddle. She gave me all week, and I mean, and Glenn, I feel it's crazy the difference that I feel owning a Western saddle. I have cowboy boots like that I wore the whole time. I rode in jeans that had like bling on the pockets, and I had like Western button-down shirts and a cowboy hat the whole time, and I didn't feel like a poser. That's the first time I've never felt like a poser. Like I can't. Last year, and TJ said, he goes, "You look a lot better this year. I have those stupid tight pants on this year, because I wore breeches all last year because that's all I had." But
so you converted to jeans now?
I am. Well, when I'm riding Western, I've converted to jeans and cowboy boots and like a Western hat and a Western shirt, like with pearl snaps. Do you know where I get all these awesome pearl snap shirts? I went to Goodwill last week before we left, and I bought all the shirts.
In Oklahoma, you'd find those too at the Goodwill.
It was crazy. I got a whole week's worth of shirts for like $3.99 a piece at Goodwill. So I looked the part. I made the part. It was a fantastic. I bought a cowboy hat while we were driving through Texas on the way to Colorado. I mean, it's a lifestyle change for me. So I must say, your wife got a Western
You're going to have
saddle.
cows in the back 40 now?
I will never have a cows in the back 40. I don't have a back 40, number one. Number two, I'm going to find somebody who will let me push their cows, because I mean to tell you, sorting was, it's my new favorite thing.
Jennifer loved it too. She did some cutting when she was out in New Mexico and sorting and the whole thing, and she loved it too. She just loved it.
Well,
did they tell you the same thing they told her? Get out of the horse's way. Let the horse do the job. Quit trying to control the horse.
It was not like when I have taken a cutting lesson. And I was talking to the people there about it, and I was like, I've cut, but I've never cut cows. And they were like, what do you mean you've cut without cutting cows? I'm like, when I took a cutting horse lesson in Arizona, we cut baby buffalo. And she was like, oh my God, that's so scary. And I was like, I know, right? Because they don't quit and the horses run. And to me, I didn't enjoy the cutting as much because it was like too intense cutting a wild animal. But this you have to be real gentle and like kind of have a plan to go into this herd and push just 6 out. And then I would push 6 out and more would try to run, and Zeus would turn around, get you back there right now.
He did his job, didn't he?
I loved it. I loved it so much. And I'm Googling right now, like cutting horse or sorting in Oklahoma.
Well, I have one other question before we wrap up for today, because Jennifer now rides a Western saddle all the time, and she has never done that in 60 years. You rode a Western saddle from what I saw in the videos. Was that the one Debbie gave you?
Yeah, that's the one Pat gave me.
Oh, Pat gave you?
Yeah. I used it the whole time,
and?
all week. I'm telling you, I love it. Like, I mean, it changed my whole opinion on... I changed my whole cultural outlook, because now I'm Western. Glenn, I own a Western saddle. I can now have cowboy boots and cowboy hat and button-down pearl snap shirts because I have a Western saddle. And then I show up and I brought my Western saddle, and what a baller I look like when I roll up to a Colorado ranch with my own Western saddle and a helmet. So
sounds like you might have relied on the horn a little bit too on those rearing times.
Oh God, that just gets you right in the belly.
Yeah.
But I sent you a video that I wanted you to play because I did not completely abandon my English roots. Okay, so let me set up this video clip. I'm sorting out cattle, but everybody else has taken a break, so I have to push them all the way around the circle and through. And there's one lady who helped me, and her name is Kelly, and she joined me on the bandwagon that you're going to hear about.
And I think this was Chad we hear in the beginning, right?
No, this is TJ.
TJ, okay.
All the way in with them, Jamie.
So right now I'm pushing these cattle. I'm galloping off, coming around, and I'm going to meet up with Kelly. And we're going to push them past TJ into the actual stop.
We got
Those
renegades.
cows going the wrong way.
Some went on the other way. I had to go get them. We send him back around, trot through, and here's his comment for Kelly and I. Closing the gate, get him all through.
I hear the gate.
Yeah, Chad was closing the gate. That's why they got out.
Now, if we could just figure out how you people could wear cowboy hats, it'd look better.
You were in your helmet.
Kelly and I were the only one in helmets. It's as cowboy as I feel and as cowboy as my soul is when I'm out there, I just cannot not wear a helmet. I just can't. And I'm like, there's cows and panels rearing, galloping, horses. It just, I don't understand how anybody doesn't wear a helmet. It makes you ride better because then you have less fear, or I do. So the first lesson I taught Kelly, she came out in her cowboy hat and we rode, and I don't say anything because these are adults and I have no part of it. Well, then she comes out to sort cattle. This is her second ride while I was there. And she comes out wearing a helmet. And I was like, oh my God, Kelly, you're wearing a helmet. Awesome. And she goes, you were the one. I've had this helmet and nobody ever wears them out here. And you made me brave enough to wear my helmet. And I was like, right on. So even though I felt so stupid because like they make fun of me because I'm dressed like a cowboy, wearing cowboy clothes and boots and a Western saddle. And I'm one-handed reining. And I'm wearing a helmet, and that is his comment the whole time. It looks
Not
so
good
much
job,
cooler.
Jamie. You did a great job there. No.
Nothing like that. Nothing. Way to push back the cows that escaped. Like none of that. Kelly and I were just made. Y'all look a lot better if you had cowboy hats on. But you know what? Be the change you want to see, right? So there it is.
I'm happy to report that Tammy Srantz, who used to host our Western show and runs Road to the Horse now, still wears her helmet when she does mounted shooting or anything. So she's also out there wearing. She had a head injury from an accident, not from horses, but she knows that she can't get bonked again, So
Yeah. So
good for you.
Anyway, yeah, I was pretty proud, and I was proud that I encouraged a woman. I didn't say a word, just me wearing the helmet was enough of an example for her to wear her helmet.
I got to say, though, I was watching that video, and all I could think of was, are you still coughing up Colorado dust? Oh, my God, it was dusty. Oh, my God.
The entire way home, Chad, Lucas, and I had like a, you get the indoor arena boogers.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing like the inside of a cattle pen and the inside of your nose, blowing your nose all the way. I blew my nose so much, my nose was bleeding.
That looked 4 hours of that would be enough.
The black boogers, like we can say it. Everybody knows it. And
Everybody
we're all
knows
smeared
it.
in dirt. We're all just like so dirty. And there's just cows pooping. They poop on each other's faces. And they just don't care. So I'm just glad I wasn't the person reaching in and removing the IUD.
Yeah, that's a job. Yeah.
They had hired people for that.
Imagine being the one milking and having to clean those before you put the milker on. While the cow's trying to kick you. So
I just want to ride horses with a purpose like that. That was a purpose. And then I rode Ace this morning. I'm trotting 20-meter circles. And I'm like, I need a purpose.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm glad you had a wonderful time. It's good to have you back. And good to hear the stories. Fun. And we'll be here in the post show. We'll hang around with us auditors for a couple minutes. We have a full week of shows for you this week. We have the Quarter Horse Show tomorrow. We'll have Equine Affair later in the week. And also, Jamie and I will be here on Wednesday and Friday. Weird News, send it to weirdnews@horseradionetwork.com if you had weird news for Wednesday. And Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com for your bad ads for Friday. We had a good group of bad ads again on Friday. So send them in. We look forward to hearing from you that way. And we would love if you recorded ads on Friday so we have to do less work. See you, everybody.
Spay neuter geld. There's some cows for sale on Craigslist. Little herd.
Tell Chad that one.
Hey, babe, getting cows.